Okay, folks, sorry about that. We're just trying to do too many things at one time. We're watching Channel 12 in Montgomery, and I was going to try to bring them on, but we're having some audio issues, so I'm still watching them off camera here, and I'll continue to watch what's going on down there in Montgomery, because what's happening in Montgomery is going to be happening in East Alabama in the next hour or so. All right, so let me reset. It is 12:27 a.m. Central, 1:27 a.m. Eastern. You're watching Dr. Don's weather page. We are now on with live wall-to-wall coverage of Hurricane Zeta, and we're going to follow this until the very end. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go back to Channel 12. We can't hear their audio, but they are showing some video of what's taking place down there in Montgomery. And this is exactly what you're going to see as it comes up into East Alabama. Now, that was a live shot. Well, of course, as soon as I come to them, they're going to break away. They were showing a live shot of downtown Montgomery, and it was a wide shot, so it wasn't didn't show the true picture. But they've been showing some pictures of power outages and trees down in the Montgomery area, and that's what's headed up toward East Alabama. Reports of a lot of power outages and trees down back over in Dallas County, down in Selma, and then also back over into West Alabama around Demopolis. All of that is what's moving up to the northeast toward Randolph, Clay, Talladega, Coosa, Tallapoosa, Chambers, even down into Lee County. We do have a brand new tornado watch that has been issued, and that does make it all the way up into Lee County. So basically from I-85 south down into southeast Alabama, we have a new tornado watch that goes in, that's now in effect for the possibility of a few small spin-up tornadoes down there. We really have not seen very much in the way of tornado action. There's only been a handful of tornado warnings issued since all of this started yesterday afternoon. So that's not a major threat, but it is possible. So they have issued a new tornado watch for that area. That does not include any of our coverage county areas except for Lee County, Alabama, and Harris County, Georgia. Those are the only two counties. All right, so here's a report of some wind conditions that we've seen in the last hour or so. We had a 52-mile-per-hour wind gust in Selma, a 61 gust also reported in Selma. Let's see, Craigfield, that's also in Dallas County, reporting 60-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see here if we have anything else. Now, I'm just looking over information live as we're talking. So, yeah, it appears to be wind gusting around 60 miles per hour. And here's the thing, the wind really isn't going to kick up until, let me stop the radar loop so I can show you what I'm talking about. Right there, that's current. Now I'm going to turn the telestrator on. All right, so the heavy wind is along that line and back here on the back side of it. So you can see that the leading edge of the heavier winds are just now coming close to being over there in Coosa County. Montgomery's experiencing some of those heavy winds now. I'm looking at a live shot. Let me see if I can take that right quick. All right, so this reporter is in Selma. This is where we've been seeing the reports of 60-mile-per-hour winds, and you see power arcing there in the background. That's a power line that's arcing. If you come back around, you can kind of see the wind, the trees blowing in the wind. And they're really focusing on that power line that's arcing back there. But the power does appear to still be on in the particular, I don't know where in Selma this reporter is located, but the power does, there's a big power flash. You can see it off there in the distance behind the reporter. And that's really indicative of what we saw down there in Mississippi earlier this evening, watching the storm chasers down there with just power flashes everywhere. The storm is holding together pretty good. But again, I want to go back to the radar because this is important. You'll see where I've got that white line drawn. That's the leading edge of the higher wind gust. And then there's only probably maybe 20, 25 miles from where the wind starts to the backside of where the rain ends. Now, that doesn't mean as soon as it quits raining that the wind's going to quit, because that's not the case. We still have gusty winds all the way down back to Mobile. So the winds are going to hang around a while. But this heavy rain band, which is only about 25, maybe 30 miles wide, I'm telling you, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, the rain's gone once the heavy, heavy rain starts. Now, you've got some pretty decent rains already taking place now in Chambers, parts of Randolph, central and southern Clay, southern Talladega, all of Coosa, Elmore, and even northern Lee County has got some moderate rain going now. That is only going to increase as we go through the next couple of hours. And then the last hour, hour and a half of this, we're going to have some really heavy rainfall. And then the rain's going to be pretty much done. But then the winds are going to continue for a couple of hours after that. Let's go back to Channel 12 in Montgomery. So here's what it looks like on Hall Street at I-85 in downtown Montgomery. That is what's headed for East Alabama. Typically speaking, we can look back toward Montgomery because that's where our weather normally comes from. And such is the case this morning. All right, so there's Auburn. And you can see the winds picking up a good bit there. No, that's Auburn University at Montgomery. I'm sorry, that's out there in East Montgomery. So you can see the winds are really gusting there. And again, pay attention to the radar down there in the lower left-hand corner. Let me get the telestrator off and let me zoom in there. Okay, that's Montgomery that you see down there in the lower right-hand side of the screen. And then that's a live shot of Montgomery coming from Channel 12's camera at Auburn University at Montgomery, out there on the Eastern Bypass. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's coming at you, East Alabama. I know this has been a long, drawn-out event. We've been talking about it for days. You guys have been kind of anticipating this since mid-afternoon this afternoon, and you really hadn't seen that much. But now it is beginning, and the next 2.5, 3 hours is going to tell the story for East Alabama. All right, so here are some current wind gusts. We have a wind gust of 32 at Auburn, 28 at Alexander City, Montgomery gusting at 44, 48 down in Greenville, Andalusia 30. So that's pretty close to where we thought we would be. Maybe not quite as strong as we thought we might see, but it's certainly in the range of where we thought we would be. And so they're just kind of showing the same thing I've already got on the screen. So let me go back to the full radar. That one. And let me zoom back out so you can kind of get the big picture. And let's just kind of take it county by county now. Let me go back in. Let's do that a little differently here. Let's start in Randolph. All right, so from just north of Roanoke up Highway 431 and to the east, we've got some moderate rain showers going on now. It's raining up there in Hawk. It's raining in Roanoke, but some heavier showers just to your north, and all of that's going to continue off to the north. Up there in Cleburne County, same thing. Got rain, moderate showers going on up there at Ranburne, Chulafini, and really going up to about I-20, and that's moving up to the north. Over in Clay County, we've got moderate rain up there at Mount Cheaha over Delta, and then the rain picks up in intensity a bit as you move on down to the south to around Ashland. You get down there in Millerville, you've got some heavier showers and thunder showers taking place down there. I say thunder showers because we always say showers and thunder showers, but there's not a lot of thunder involved in any of this. Matter of fact, I'm showing 0 strikes in this frame. So thunder and lightning is not an issue right now, though we can't rule out a strike or two here and there. So over in Talladega County, Childersburg, down to Sylacauga, some heavier showers right there along the Sylacauga, or just south of Sylacauga along the Clay County, Talladega County line. And then as we move on down to the south, well, let's go back over to the Georgia counties first. Up there in Carroll County, we've got showers there across the western side of the county. Then down into Heard County from Franklin up through Central Hatchie up to the Carroll County line. LaGrange, you just got some light showers right now, nothing of any great significance. And then Chambers County from Lynette Valley back to the west, Lafayette. You got some moderate showers going on down there in Casita. Heavier showers now just to the north and east of Waverly. And then in Tallapoosa County, we've got spots of heavy rainfall along with moderate showers. Dadeville's got some pretty good showers going on down there around Bama Park, Our Town, down there on Lake Martin, Kalijah, back up to around Alexander City. Over in Coosa County, you see some heavier showers down there in the southern part of the county. Kelly's Crossroads, Equality. And then as we get down into Elmore County, very heavy rainfall falling now in Eclectic. Heavy rainfall down around Wetumpka, back over toward Tallahassee. Real Town's got a little bit of a reprieve going on at the moment. But look at this stuff down here around Montgomery. This is where the really heavy stuff starts. And all of that is lifting off to the north and northeast, moving in the general direction of Randolph County. Heavy rainfall up there in Tuscaloosa. Not a lot happening in Birmingham right this moment. That'll change here in a bit. And you see the track is still on there, and the track has kind of shifted back and forth a little bit over the last couple of hours. A couple of hours ago, it looked more like it was going to move through maybe Clay County, but now that has shifted back to the north just a little bit. And so where you see that yellow line flashing right there in the middle of your screen is where we think the center of this thing is going to continue to move. So I think our original track that we've been talking about for the last couple of days is going to be dead on. It's going to move through Chilton County there just north of Jemison, and then move very close to Childersburg. We'll cross I-20. Earlier we were talking about it crossing between Anniston and Heflin. Now it looks more like a center point, Anniston, somewhere between those two locations is where we'll cross I-20. Then run right over Jacksonville, stay up here at Jacksonville, right over Piedmont, and then over Rome, Adairsville, and continue on up into Georgia, across the Blue Ridge mountain range up there, across Ellijay, and then into North Carolina near Murphy, North Carolina. So that's a little bit further back to the west and the north than we originally thought. But it doesn't really matter. The exact track of the center of circulation is not a make or break deal here. All of East Alabama is going to get in on this. Forward motion now 30 miles per hour, and I've already heard several weather reporters and meteorologists make this statement. In all the years of covering hurricanes, I don't know that I have ever seen one move this fast, this soon after landfall. We're moving off to the northeast now at around 30 miles per hour. Probably going to even kick it up a notch, up to around 35 miles per hour in the next couple of hours. And so that's just incredible. It's good in one sense, and it's bad in another. It's good in the fact that it's moving so fast, it just doesn't have time to create any flooding issues. But with it moving that fast, it's also not weakening as fast as you would like to see. So it's carrying those tropical storm force winds much further inland than you would ordinarily expect. I mean, you can probably count on one hand the number of times we have seen inland tropical storm warnings as far north as we have tonight. I mean, it's just incredible. Let me see if I can turn that on right quick, because this is interesting. And let's take the reflectivity off. All right. All of those counties you see in orange, those are either tropical storm watches or tropical storm warnings. There are warnings all the way through. No, they've upgraded. This is all tropical storm warning. Every county you see in orange is under a tropical storm warning. Folks, we're talking from Richmond, Virginia to Mobile, Alabama. Under a tropical storm warning. And I believe we're breaking all kind of records here, because I've never seen that before. We do have 2 counties under a flash flood warning up in northeast Alabama. We have those tornado watch counties basically from Lee County south, and that continues on over into Georgia. So basically from Perry back to Tuskegee, down to around Pensacola to Panama City, and back up to Tifton. Those are the areas that are under the tornado watch that was just issued about 30 minutes ago. Amazing stuff. Let's get the reflectivity turned back on. It'll take a second. There it goes. Now, this is just the Birmingham radar we're looking at. There's much more precipitation out there than this. We're only looking at what Birmingham can see right now, because it's getting so close to East Alabama. We want to get the best resolution we can get, and there it is right there. Channel 12's got another shot of downtown Montgomery up, and I just want to kind of show you what it looks like there in the background. Look, see how the camera's shaking? It is shaking because of the wind. That camera's on top of one of the tallest buildings there in downtown Montgomery, and it is, and you can see the clouds up there. They're moving rather quickly. So that's kind of what it looks like in Montgomery. It's hard to see rain when you're looking at a wide shot like this on television, and especially at night in the dark. It is raining there. But that kind of gives you an idea of what the wind is doing. Now, the rain is in the process of subsiding in Montgomery. They're right in downtown Montgomery, and the back edge of the rain is about to clear downtown Montgomery. All right, here are some current wind gusts. We've had a wind gust of 52 in Montgomery, 32 in Auburn, Alexander City at 25. Tuscaloosa's had a wind gust of 35. These are current wind gusts now. We've had wind gusts much higher than this down in southwest Alabama. These are the current wind gusts. Andalusia's still down there at 30 miles per hour. Montgomery at 52. Because, see, what's happening, that heavy rain band is just now clearing Montgomery, but we still have the wind behind it. The wind may actually pick up more behind the rain, which is a little weird, but that's what we're seeing. That's what we've been seeing all the way across southwest Alabama. And that 52 in Montgomery kind of confirms what we're talking about, because the heavy rain band has just cleared Montgomery, and we still have a 52 mile per hour wind gust there. Enterprise is getting in on the action. They got 38-mile-per-hour wind gusts down in South Alabama also. All right, we are going to, let me look over here on the chat room and see if anybody has any questions. Here's how we work the chat room if you're new to us. Comment, tell me where you're watching from. Look at there, we got a wind gust of 59 over in Grove Hill. That's over in West Alabama. Tell me where you're watching from. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, post them there. If you want to send me, I love desserts, pies, cakes. You know, you can overnight that stuff nowadays. For that kind of stuff, send me a messenger message, and I'll tell you how to get those goodies to me. If you would like to support us, and we ask that you please do so if you can go to paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. It is quick, it's fast, it's secure. You do not have to have a PayPal account to do this. You can click on any of our videos. The link is there on the top of the video. We've got a post now on Dr. Don's weather page, thanks to Summer Johnson. She posted over there a few moments ago, reminding everybody to help us out if you can. Whatever you can do, we greatly appreciate it. Several of you have already done that tonight, and we thank you for that. And we ask, if you can, to please support us, because all of this does cost money. All this stuff that you're seeing, it costs money for subscriptions, for internet, computers, and all this stuff. It is expensive. But we want to keep doing it. We want to keep doing it for East Alabama and West Georgia, because you guys deserve it. You do not get the attention that you should get from the major television markets. There are reasons for that. And we'll talk about that a little later when things calm down a little bit. But we ask you to help us out if you can at paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. I want to, let's see if we can pull this off. Bear with me just a second. Let's go. Okay, let's go back to that shot. Here we are. We're at Toomer's Corner now. This is in Auburn. The wind that you saw in Montgomery will be moving into Auburn. We've already had a 32-mile-per-hour wind gust at Auburn, but wind will start picking up now in Auburn. The rain will start to subside. The winds will pick up. And so we're going to kind of keep an eye on this shot to see if we can see that actually beginning to happen. All right, so I'm looking at the chat room now, comments in the chat room. So let's just see who we've got here. Alan Whaley's watching us. Alan is in Wedowee. We got Roanoke in the house. There's Rock Mills. Bill Speed's down there in Prattville. Bill, what's the weather doing down there? Should be pretty gusty. Pamela is watching us in Opelika. Tawana is in Woodland. Robert is in Bremen, Georgia. Thank you, Robert. Nice to have you with us. Patsy's watching us in Alexander City. There's Wedowee. There's Roanoke again. Shirley is in Graham over in eastern Randolph County. Roxanne's in the house. There's Christy in Roanoke. Jimmy is watching. Jimmy Stevens. Hey, Mr. Jimmy. Jimmy is one of our sponsors. Thank you so much, sir. Jimmy Stevens Construction. He's watching us this evening. We appreciate you, Jimmy. And we hope that you stay with us a long, long time. We really do appreciate your support. You're one of our partners, and we thank you. There's another Roanoke, Big Springs, Lake Wedowee, Bowden, Rock Mills, Roanoke, DeKalb County, Alabama. Jason Weathers watching us up in DeKalb County, Alabama. You know, this storm is a little bit strange. Normally, we don't see a whole lot on the west side or the northern side of the storm, but we've seen a good bit of rain up in North Alabama. You folks up there in DeKalb County have picked up some pretty good rain out of this storm. There's Pine Hill. Okay, Pine Hill, we appreciate you. Woodland. There's Fayetteville, Peachtree City. Jeff Greer, thank you for joining us, Jeff. You're down there close to the National Weather Service office there at Peachtree City. There's Roanoke, Cassandra Hurd, and 5 points. Woodland, thank you, Beverly. All right, there's Enterprise, Alabama. Barbara. Pike is down in Enterprise, Alabama, down there in the Wiregrass. Barbara says that it's a little windy down there in Enterprise. I think I saw the wind gust there of 38 miles per hour just a few moments ago. And as we're watching the live camera at Toomer's Corner in Auburn, the wind's picking up there in Auburn pretty good, too. The camera's beginning to move around a bit. You can see the trees over there at Toomer's Corner blowing in the wind pretty good as well. So the winds are increasing a little bit there in Auburn. Shelby County, Tawana's asking, do you know how bad it is in Shelby County? I think last time I saw the report out of the Shelby County Airport, it was like 42 miles per hour. But I haven't seen any reports of any damage in Shelby County. Miss Deborah says the wind is picking up at Butler Mill. It's in Randolph County. A wind picking up in Opelika. Wind beginning to pick up in Wadley. Pee Wee's hair is blowing around a good bit in Roanoke. And if you were not with us earlier, Pee Wee said that he had an extra can of hairspray with him. Just in case. There's Carrollton, Georgia. Pee Wee is our eye in the sky in Roanoke tonight. He's on duty, so he's going to kind of keep us up to date if he sees anything going on. There's Columbus, Georgia. Thank you, Mandy Williams. I appreciate your support. I saw that, and I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Mandy supported us, and we thank you for that, Mandy. I tell you what I'm going to do, Mandy. That's a toot for you for supporting Dr. Don's weather page. Thank you. Wind picking up a good bit now in Coosa County, Goodwater, Alabama. Kelly is reporting just rain so far in Randolph. And see, that's the weird thing about this, folks. That's what you're going to get first is rain. And then if you have very heavy downpour, some of the wind will get pushed down to the surface by the rain. I promise you, at about 1,000, 2,000 feet up in the atmosphere, the wind is 5 times what it is on the ground right now. And then when these heavy downpours happen, it pushes some of that heavier wind in the upper atmosphere down to the ground. And it'll quit. And then after this heavy rain band moves through, almost at the end of the rain band and behind the rain band is where the heaviest winds are from what we have seen so far this evening, which is a little bit different from what we normally see. But, you know, every tropical storm, every hurricane has some kind of different characteristic about it. There's no two storms identical. That's why I don't like to compare one storm to another, because they're all different in some shape, form, or fashion. There's a viewer up in Heflin, Alabama. Oh, by the way, we've got God's Country 90.9. And we also have Friday Night Network FNN, is also simulcasting us tonight as well. Okay, so Pee-wee just sent me a photograph. It looks like McDonald's. It is. He's sitting. Okay, Pee-wee's sitting. Pee-wee is sitting at First Bank at the intersection of 431 and 22 in Roanoke. And we have a picture of McDonald's, so we know that the McDonald's building is fine. And then he said, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the red lights are beginning to sway back and forth. So there's breaking news from Roanoke, Alabama. The red lights are swaying in the wind. Thank you, Pee-wee. Yeah, that is a pretty good indication, though, of wind. When you start to see traffic lights swaying back and forth, that you know you're beyond what normal typically is as far as the wind's concerned. All right, so Chance, you absolutely cannot send me a cat. But my friend, I will be more than happy to send you 1 or 5. That got producer Tracy's attention. The one thing I do not need are more cats. All right, so Amanda is reporting a lot of wind in Lineville. That certainly could be because you've got a heavy rain band right now moving into Lineville. Stretches back across southern and central Clay County. Heflin, Alabama, Pennon, Abbeville. Abbeville. I think Abbeville's going to get a 2. So when we see a location that has never been on here before, you get the honk or the toot. Don't believe Abbeville's been in here before. Heflin, Newell, Rock Mills. There's my buddy Clark Shepard. Jackson Gap, Alabama. Raining in Heflin. Wind picking up in Corinth. There's Mr. Joe Knight. Thank you for that report, Joe. 5 points. You can expect the same as everybody else across East Alabama. Wind gust of 35 to 45 miles per hour, or sustained winds as high as 35 to 40 miles per hour, with occasional gust as high as 60 miles per hour. Going to have a couple of hours of heavy rain, and then the rain's going to start to subside, and then here comes the wind. And we're watching Toomer's Corner in Auburn, and you can see that the winds are beginning to get pretty gusty down there in the Auburn, Opelika area. The tornado threat really is insignificant across most of East Alabama, from I-85 south down into southeast Alabama and southwest Georgia is really the only place we have a tornado threat, and even there it is minimal. That's not to say we couldn't have a spin-up tornado in any of this, but the most likely area is south of I-85, and even there, the chances are not very good. If this were happening during the daylight hours where we had some heating of the day going on, it'd be a totally different story. Winds picking up at Jackson Gap. Power just flickered in Newell. Ackworth, Georgia is in the house. That's Josh Payton watching us in Ackworth. I'm not sure if you've been here before or not, Josh, but there you go, my friend. Yes, we are still expecting power outages. I'm not sure it's going to be a massive, widespread situation with the power outages, but I think we will see power outages. As As a matter of fact, I'm watching the National Weather Service chat room, and I have not seen, even down in southwest Alabama, I have not seen reports of power outage. That's not to say we don't have some, but I just haven't seen them. 52-mile-per-hour wind gust at Montgomery Airport. That's out there at Danley Field between Montgomery and Selma. 52-mile-per-hour gust at 12:32. That was in the 800 block of Tallapoosa Street in Notasulga. So about 30 minutes ago, we had a wind gust of 42 miles per hour in Notasulga. We have a flash flood warning that's now in effect for Autauga, Bibb, Chilton, Perry, Shelby, and St. Clair counties of Alabama. That is in effect until 3:45. Again, that is a flash flood warning for Autauga, Bibb, Chilton, Perry, Shelby, and St. Clair. Primarily that whole area of red that you see there. Those are the counties that the flash flood warning is out for. Put this in motion again. And we've got heavy rain over most of Randolph County, heavy rain over Clay, some extremely heavy rain moving into Chambers County, also southern Tallapoosa. Boy, I tell you, from Alexander City all the way down to Tallahassee, you got some torrential rainfall. Let me go down there and take a look, show you what I'm talking about. And let me take that shot back full screen. All right, so from Tallahassee back up to Bama Park to a point between our town and Dadeville up to around 280. That is extremely heavy rainfall. Another pocket of heavy rainfall over in southwest Chambers County. Small area up there around Frog Eye, around Miss Mabry's house. Hope she's got all them frogs in the house, because they could get washed away. And that's about to move into Wadley. So, Chance, I expect you to let me know what that rain looks like. Rain rate should really pick up in Wadley here in the next few minutes. Won't last very long, but your rain should intensify in Wadley here in just a little bit. Now back over here around Alabaster, where you see those circles that are rotating, those are mesoscales. That's what the weather folks refer to them as. And basically what that's telling us is there is some rotation being detected. But understand, that's real close to where the center of circulation of this storm is at this hour. So you're going to see some mesoscales around that, what's left of the center of circulation. This is just amazing, folks. What's left of this storm is almost in Clanton, Alabama, and it was just west of Grand Isle, Louisiana, about 6 hours ago. I mean, it is just amazing that this thing is moving as fast as it is. But that's nothing to be concerned about, those circles you see rotating there. Now, if we get one of those way out here well removed from the center of circulation, then that's something to keep an eye on. But there's just not a lot of instability going on here. As a matter of fact, the only two storm tracks we're picking up on radar are actually to the north and a little bit to the northwest of the center of circulation. And that would be that storm coming up on Alabaster, and there's another storm cell there just south of Birmingham moving north. All right, so Zeta has, or Zeta, I keep trying to say Zeta. That's because I got a grandbaby dog named Zeta. That's why. Zeta has now been downgraded to a tropical storm. Brand new advisory just out. So we have, Zeta has maintained hurricane status all the way into central Alabama. It's just now been downgraded to a tropical storm. I'll just read the verbiage of this to you. Zeta weakens to a tropical storm over central Alabama. Strong winds continue across portions of Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. This is as of 1 a.m. Central, which was 6 minutes ago. If you're tracking the storm, location was 32.9 north or 87.4 west, about 25 miles south-southeast of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Maximum sustained winds are now 70 miles per hour. Present movement is to the northeast at 31 miles per hour. The minimum central pressure is now down or up to 985 millibars. The National Hurricane Center and storm surge warnings for the Mississippi Gulf Coast have been discontinued. The storm surge warning for the Florida Panhandle has been discontinued. Let's see here. At 1 a.m., the center of Tropical Storm Zeta was located near latitude 32.9 north, longitude 87.4 west. Zeta's moving off quickly toward the northeast near 31 miles per hour. An even faster northwestward motion is expected later this morning, followed by a rapid east-northeastward motion tonight and on Friday. On the forecast track, the center of Zeta will move over portions of the southeastern United States this morning, across the mid-Atlantic states this afternoon, and emerge over the western Atlantic by tonight. Are you kidding me? So we're talking a trek from Grand Isle, Louisiana, across the entire southeastern United States, over Virginia, and back out into the Atlantic in about 24 hours. That is just off the chart in tropical terms. Maximum sustained winds have decreased to near 70 miles per hour with higher gusts. Additional weakening is expected, and Zeta should decay into a non-tropical gale force low later today. Now, the low should become absorbed by a frontal system over the western Atlantic on Friday. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 150 miles. An observation in Wetumpka, Alabama, recently reported sustained winds of 44 miles per hour. Let's see if there's anything else here. That's pretty much all. Flash flood warning has just been issued for Jefferson County. That is Birmingham. Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery reporting a gust of 51 knots. That equates to somewhere around 55, 56 miles per hour. Let's go back over here and read some more messages. Waverly, Alabama. Hey, Deborah. Yeah, First Bank. Got you, Pee-wee. Lisa said, give me some fries, Pee-wee. Weather in Waverly. There was some pretty heavy rain in Waverly earlier. Yeah, you still got some pretty heavy rain there right along Highway 280. Just west of Waverly is where the heaviest rain is right now. So you're definitely in that area where you're going to start getting scattered showers, and the winds are going to slowly start to pick up. I'll take you back to Toomer's Corner. Auburn Fire Department sitting there at the intersection. I'm assuming they're just out patrolling. Not a tremendous amount of rain in Auburn right this moment, though the wind is still gusty. Here is the centered up where you can see it. Wow, I zoomed in way too tight that time. All right, there is... That's Auburn right there, where I just drew that circle. I know because I've got it in a small box there in the corner. It's hard to see. That's why I circled it for you. But you see that green is just light rain. So very light rain falling in Auburn right now. But look off to the west over there. You see that yellow beginning to creep into the screen over there around Lochapoka. That's going to rotate back up through Auburn. So going through one of those cycles right now where the rain has subsided. But now if you'll watch the camera, you'll see the wind is beginning to pick up a little bit. And then we'll have some rain come in right behind it. Here comes somebody on a scooter in the middle of a tropical storm. Gotta love it. College town. Let's see here. Strong wind and rain south of Wedowee. Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a small for the moment, but between Cornhouse Creek and Wedowee, right there along and just west of 431, I've got a small heavy band moving off to the north. And so you're gonna have periods of this over the next several hours. There's the capital city of Wedowee, right there. Heflin, same situation for you up there. We're talking sustained winds of 35 to 45 with occasional gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. Going to have another couple of hours of rain, then the winds are going to kick in and hang around for an hour or two, and then by the time the sun comes up, this is going to probably be a done deal. The big question we have here is, will there be any trees and power lines down when that happens? I just saw a power flash. Look, we're seeing power flashes on the Auburn camera, probably back in the direction of Jordan-Hare Stadium. Just saw two significant power flashes. This is Toomer's Corner. There goes another one. This is Toomer's Corner, and the camera is looking back to the southwest. And so the power flashes were back behind the stadium, maybe back in the direction of Wire Road. So when you start seeing power flashes like that, that's an indication that the winds are gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's when that starts happening. There's another one. So we're probably losing power now on the western side of Auburn. If I had to guess, I would say back out toward Wire Road. That is not lightning. I show 0 lightning strikes across East Alabama, so that was definitely power flashes. Yeah, I don't know of any other cameras right in this area or in East Alabama. If someone knows of some other live cameras close to Randolph, Chambers, Tallapoosa, Clay, send me a message on Messenger with the link and I will go to it. I'm not aware of any other live cams. Can I go down to Henry County? I certainly can. Turn the telestrator off. Yeah, not a whole lot happening down there in southeast Alabama right now. Now, that is the Birmingham radar, so hang on. Go back to the National Composite, see if we can get it to load. Okay, well, there is a little bit down there. Nothing severe, though, and certainly nothing dumping as much rain as what we're seeing up in central Alabama. But we do have a line of showers. This is a feeder band, actually, that stretches from Clio down to Ozark, to Dothan, back down to Geneva, and then down into Florida, down to around Freeport there along 331, then back down to around Panama City, back over to Seagrove. So this is down here in southeast Alabama. She was asking about Henry County, and that's what's going on down there. Nothing significant, but now if we were to have a small spin-up tornado, this would be the area, and these would be the storms for that to happen with. But right now, I don't see anything that looks suspicious in any of these storms. Well, maybe back over here around Crestview, we've got that little line right there. We could have some quick spin ups on that. We did have a tornado warning around Niceville earlier. But not a whole lot happening down there in southeast Alabama. Mesoscale over here in Troup County with a 7 on the index, rotation 33 knots, 16,000 feet. Yeah, I would imagine Peachtree City is looking at this, though the radar signature doesn't look very impressive. Also, another mesoscale. This is up here in Carroll County, northeast Carroll County. It's got an index of 6 with the rotations at 45 knots, 11,000 feet, the depth of 18. So I would imagine the folks at Peachtree City are watching both of these areas. But again, I don't see anything there that jumps out at me. Joe is saying that he has seen a number of 200,000 plus over the 3 states without power. I'm assuming that would be Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Yeah, and that's not really that bad for a strong Cat 2 landfalling hurricane. I mean, we almost hit Category 3 right at landfall. So 200,000 plus over a 3-state area, all things considered, is not really that bad. Caleb Calhoun says, Chambers County deputies are watching. Thanks, Don. We tied down the courthouse for good measure. That's cool stuff. You folks in law enforcement, you firefighters, your first responders, public safety folks, emergency management, they're all out working tonight. We appreciate what you do. Thank you. Even you, Pee Wee, we appreciate you. Reports of some pretty heavy wind up in Heflin. Miss Deborah's reporting some pretty good wind at Butler's Mill. She said the wind is gusting here. It sounds like the tin's coming off or something's hitting the roof. Well, it's too early for Santa Claus, so I doubt that it's the reindeer. Morgan is reporting some pretty heavy wind in the city limits of Wedowee. Getting a lot of requests to join East Alabama weather, so let me go over there and approve these so these folks can get in. Yeah, we talked about this earlier, folks. If you have not joined a weather group, and we have 3 of them, Central Alabama, East Alabama, and North Georgia. If you don't belong to one of those groups, depending on which area you live in, then please go over there and request to become a member, because that's where I post weather watches and warnings. I don't do that on Dr. Don's weather page because I don't want to bombard everybody with a ton of notifications. I only want to send it to those who are being affected. So if you're in Central Alabama, go to the Central Alabama Weather Group. If you're in East Alabama, go to the East Alabama Weather Group. And if you're in North Georgia, go to the North Georgia Weather Group and request to become a member. I'll approve it and let you in. That way you get weather notifications. And then if you have not already done so, please look at the bottom of this live stream and like it. Click that like button. And if you see a little bell right next to it, click that. That way, when we go live for severe weather, you will get a notification. And one more thing that you need to do, and that is to go over to our YouTube channel and do the same thing. Subscribe to Dr. Don's weather page on YouTube and click the notification button. That way, you're guaranteed to get notified when we go live for severe weather. Not only do I need you to do that, but share it with all of your friends and ask your friends to share with their friends and do the same thing. That way it builds our numbers, we get more people involved, we spread the word, and we protect more people. So you can be as big a part of what we're doing here as I am by getting involved and helping us get our numbers up and getting more people to watching what we're doing. And even areas that do have decent television coverage for severe weather, invite them to come on over, because we do things a little bit different. I don't make up forecast. I don't give you something totally different and completely in the opposite direction of the paid professional meteorologists that do this for a living. I take what the National Weather Service puts out there, which is pretty doggone close most of the time, and then I fine-tune it for our particular area across East Alabama and West Georgia. I don't stray from what they put out there. I just fine-tune it, and I can stay with it when the major market television stations can't. I can. So that's what we do. So we want to get as many folks involved in this as we possibly can. You can help us with that, and that doesn't cost a dime. All you got to do is do some clicking. That's all you need to do. Heavy rain and wind in Davidson and New Site. Heavy rain on Highway 15 in Wedowee. Bad here in Oxford. Wind is picking up in Woodland. Power is flickering in Wedowee. Roxton, strong wind and rain. No power in Dadeville. All right, so there's our first report of a power outage. Teresa Yates is reporting that they have lost power in Dadeville. All right, so Pee Wee is now reporting some strong gusts. Says his patrol car is shaking. No power outages as of right now. Well, the question, and here's how we're going to measure this, Pee Wee. How many strands of hair do you have out of place? If we get more than 2 or 3 strands of hair out of place, we got a problem. All right, Amanda is reporting power just went out. So, Amanda, let us know where you're at. Let us know where that power outage is. Tallapoosa County, same as the rest of East Alabama. Been talking about it all day long. Sustained winds of 35 to 45 with gusts to 55 or 60. A couple of hours of heavy rain and then a couple of hours, 2-3 hours of heavy wind. Probably will bring down trees. We probably will have power outages. As a matter of fact, we're already getting reports of power outages. All right, so Summer is saying this. We are traveling back to Valley from South Carolina, and we're coming into Atlanta. Is there anything we need to worry about within the next hour and a half getting back to Valley? No, there's not, other than I-85 is not going to be a pleasant ride. You got heavy rain now from just south of Atlanta through Peachtree City down through LaGrange. All the way back to Valley. You got moderate rain there along I-85. The tornado threat will be south of Valley, I think. And even down there, there's not much of a threat, but if we're going to see any tornadoes at all, that's where most likely where it would be. So it's, you're going to have to slow down and be careful. But right now, I don't see anything that you should be concerned about traveling down I-85 between Atlanta and Valley. Now, I wouldn't do that just to be doing it, but you're traveling and you're trying to get back home, and I don't see a reason right now why you should alter that plan. Wind is really bad in Heflin. Precious is telling us that she can hear it in her bedroom. Wind blowing like crazy in Newell. Good morning, Lawrence Ladies. Down there in Jackson County, Georgia. Big city of Jefferson. He's one of my drone buddies. I guarantee he's not out there flying a drone right now. Yeah, Deborah, producer Tracy suffers from the same kind of stuff, and low pressure just deals her fits, and she's having a rough night because of it. Yeah, it is horrible. Fortunately, I don't deal with that, but watching her go through it's pretty rough. Power flickering. Okay, Deborah's up there at Butler's Mill, so the power's flickering up there. That's up there north of Woodland. Wind picking up in Woodland. Rain and wind picking up in Rock Mills. Windy over in Dickert. Question here, is it safe to be on the roads in Roanoke? I wouldn't. You've got heavy rain coming down. Winds are picking up. I would not. Now, if you don't have any other options, then you don't have any other options. But if you can avoid being on the roads in Roanoke or anywhere in East Alabama, I would avoid it. It's not going to last all day, folks. I mean, probably by sunrise, this will either be over or in the process of being over. The big question then will be, do we have power? Do we have roads blocked by trees? And that's an unknown. We'll have to wait and see. The school closings are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Randolph County was going to delay 3 hours, but they since decided to go ahead and call it. And Cleburne County has done the same thing. I think it's still scrolling that they're on a 3-hour delay, but they have canceled schools for today. Roanoke City is waiting. They do have a 2-hour delay built in, so it's a 10 a.m. start for Roanoke City. Last time I talked to Mr. Markham, which was around midnight or 1 a.m., he said that they were going to reevaluate and make a decision a little later this morning. I just lost my chat room. What's going on here? Bear with me just a second, folks. For some reason, my chat room monitor just went out. So let me see if I can pull it up a different way. All right, somebody type something because I lost everything I had. I can't see. I cannot see if you've already. Oh, here we go. It's back. All right, so we got reports of a tree down in Heflin. Tawana says she just lost her satellite signal, and that's because of heavy rain. And we're watching the Toomer's Corner feed live from Auburn, and you can see the rain pretty heavy there in Auburn, though I still say the heaviest of the heavy rain is going to miss Auburn. It's now down there in Tallahassee, moving off to the northeast. I mean, it is pouring in Tallapoosa County. Between Camp Hill and Alexander City, Dadeville, we've lost power in Dadeville, and I can see why. That is a very heavy cell moving through Tallapoosa County from Alexander City down to about Waverly. A couple of very heavy spots in Chambers County. This stuff that you're watching on the camera in Auburn really is just the green and yellow. It's not even, doesn't even have any red in it. Heavy stuff over in Weguffka, up into Clay County. Very heavy rainfall from Sylacauga back up to Childersburg. Back over to Alabaster. And that flashing, I know it's hard to see. Let me go back to the radar. All right, so that flashing line right there in the middle, that is where the center of circulation is tracking. It's back here now, coming right over Jemison, crossing I-65 between Jemison and Montevallo. Just south of Calera is where it's going to cross over I-65. Then continue up just north of Childersburg, just north of Talladega, crossing over Rome, Adairsville, Calhoun, crossing over 75 right there around Calhoun. then up into LJ, across Blue Ridge, and crossing into North Carolina around Murphy. And then turning back to the northeast even more as we get on up into North Carolina. Let me go back out and show you the big picture of the entire southeastern United States. And so most of what you see in Alabama and then even up here into southern Illinois, Indiana, back over to Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, Pennsylvania, all of that is associated with Hurricane Zeta. This stuff back over here in North Texas, back into Oklahoma and Kansas, Nebraska, that's the low pressure system that's coming across from west to east, and that is what's pushing the storm off to the northeast so rapidly. I mean, we're at 31 mile per hour forward motion now, and probably going to go closer to 35, maybe even 40 before all is said and done. So that's what's pushing all of this off to the east so fast. All right, so we've lost power now in Wedowee, so we know we have power outages in Wedowee and Dadeville. All right, so let's see here. All right, Lawrence has posted an interesting number there. Alabama customers, outages 216,000. And that was at 1:10 Central, 2:10 Eastern. Thanks, Lawrence. I appreciate that information. There's my buddy Pat Ray. Good morning, Pat. Breezy up on the hill in Woodland, Alabama. Donna Young. Thank you, Donna. Yeah, those are just Alabama numbers now. 216,900. That's pretty significant, folks, and that's what I'm afraid of. We're going to start seeing that number go up as it moves across East Alabama and eventually into West Georgia. All right, so power is out in the New Hope, Napoleon area of eastern Randolph County. That's right there on the Georgia state line. So you folks in Heard County, Georgia, pay attention to what's going on over in Randolph, because that's headed your way. We do have several locations now reporting power outages. Power outage in Auburn. I'm not surprised at all. We're looking at Toomer's Corner. We still have power there. But about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes ago, we saw some tremendous power spikes off to the southwest of Toomer's Corner. Would have been back in the direction of Jordan-Hare Stadium, maybe a little further away than that. You could see the power flashing off in the horizon, maybe back out toward Wire Road. So power is probably, the power outage is going to be out there on the western side of Auburn, if I had to guess. That's where the flashes were coming from anyway. Rebecca, can you confirm that? Can you let me know where in Auburn the power is out, or where you are with no power? Whether you're on the west side of town, or southern, or northern, or right in the middle of downtown, wherever you are, that would be helpful. Pee-wee says we are definitely getting the red rain in Roanoke. You know, if y'all remember the last time we went live, Pee-wee was our resident comedian, as he typically is. And we had red rain, yellow rain, and green rain. Red rain is bad. I'm telling you, folks, down here in Tallapoosa County, between Dadeville and Alexander City, I can almost guarantee you 280's underwater. Jackson Gap area. That is just insane. Yeah, I see. Power's out in Jackson Gap, no doubt. Y'all are getting it handed to you right now. That is some incredible rainfall. I tell you what, I want to do here. Let's see. Let me stop that. Bring it current. Let's go down there and take a look. Yeah, look at that. 51.5 DBZs down there, Jackson Gap. That is some incredible rain going on right there. Here's the good news, though, Jackson Gap. It's moving at a fairly rapid pace. If this was sitting still, it wouldn't take but just a minute. You guys would be underwater down there. I mean, look how hard it's raining in Auburn. And Auburn does not even have any red rain, as Pee Wee calls it. Oops. Whew. Golly, I got to learn how to do that a little bit better. I'm going to make you all seasick. Yeah, see. All right, so let me get in tight on Auburn. And you can kind of compare what you're seeing on the camera, which is kind of hard to see because the rain's coming right into the lens of the camera. And I guess we need to get Pee Wee to run code down there right quick and wipe the lens off for us. No, wait a minute. I just realized what I said. We do not need Pee Wee in Auburn. Forget I said that. Hey, there goes Auburn Fire. We can get them to back up with that ladder truck right there and wipe the camera off. We need wind chill wipers on the Toomer's Corner camera. Somebody needs to stop in the drugstore tomorrow and make that suggestion. But you can see there, comparing what's happening on camera to what we're looking at on radar, Auburn is not getting the heaviest rain. Yet you can see on camera, it does appear to be pretty heavy. Understand, folks, when you see rain on television, if you can see that it's raining on TV, it's 4 or 5 times worse than it looks, because rain is just hard to pick up on camera. All right, so you see that. Now, let's go back up the road here in the Tallapoosa County. And I want you to look at this. Jackson's Gap, just south of Jackson's Gap, and this is coming at you, Jackson's Gap. And from Dadeville all the way back up to Alexander City, back over to Wind Creek, it is absolutely coming a flood. And we have power outages in those areas as well. All right, so now we've lost power in Woodland. So we have multiple power outages across Randolph County now. All right, so Chris is watching us in Eaton, Georgia. Eaton, Georgia. Chris, all you got to do is look off to the west and look at what's happening in Alabama, because that's all moving into West Georgia and eventually into north and north central Georgia. And we got problems. We've got power going out, and we've got very heavy rainfall now in East Alabama. What I haven't seen What I have not seen are reports of downed trees. I know there are because we've got power outages. Let me go back over here to the National Weather Service chat room and see if we have any kind of updates over here. Some questions going on about maybe some damage in Tuscaloosa County, and somebody, was a meteorologist there in Tuscaloosa. His response was, I'll be honest, it didn't do much at all on the UA campus. Breezy winds, but no more than you would see behind a November cold front. So, Pee Wee, you would be happy to know all is well in Tuscaloosa. Okay, this is from Notasulga. Just got a strong wind gust that has taken out our weather station and broken very large limbs out of a very large pecan tree, 800 block of Tallapoosa Street in Notasulga. That was at 1:29. So that was about 20 minutes ago in Notasulga. He was unable to get a reading just before his weather station went down, but he's estimating 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. He says that the pecan tree survived Opal, and the limbs are snapping off the tree like twigs now. Of course, this tree is about 25 or 30 years older now than it was during Opal. That have a little bit to do with it. All right, so we're getting radio reports of trees and lines down in South Tallapoosa County in the Reeltown Union area. Deputies are en route to check on it. I don't doubt that. I was just talking about that area of Tallapoosa County. From Alexander City back down to, really all the way back down to Camp Hill, and just south of Jackson Gap. That same area just moved through Reeltown. So I'm telling you, that rain's heavy enough to be bringing some of the winds from the upper levels of the atmosphere down to the surface. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to be seeing those 60-mile-per-hour winds right there along 280 in Tallapoosa County. I really feel like that's what we've got going on, and now I've got something to back that up. We're getting radio reports of trees and lines down in southern Tallapoosa County in the Reeltown Union area. So that's the deal, folks. Where you see the darker reds, or as Pee Wee calls it, the red rain, and then when you see the really dark stuff, like what we see right there just west of Dadeville, this stuff we're talking about right here, this is heavy enough. It is mixing that wind from the upper levels of the atmosphere all the way to the surface. So where you see the darkest red, I would not at all be surprised to see some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust going on right there. And all of this is kind of moving off to the northeast. All right, so we are coming up on 1:50 a.m. Central, 10 minutes till 2 Central Time. You are watching live coverage of Hurricane Zeta on Dr. Don's weather page, as we are watching power grids fail across East Alabama. Multiple reports of power outages now in Tallapoosa County, up there in Randolph County. Reports of power outage back down in Elmore County, Montgomery County. And this, look out your window. What you're getting right now is what you're going to get for the next couple of 2 or 3 hours. And the wind is only going to get worse as we go through the next couple of 2 or 3 hours. The rain should start to subside in a couple of hours across most of East Alabama. As what's left of our hurricane has now been downgraded to a tropical storm and continues to race off to the northeast at around 31 miles per hour and may slowly pick up forward motion as we go throughout the remainder of the morning. Wind blowing hard in Woodland. Still good on Gray Hill. Beauregard, you're down there in southern Lee County. Should be okay down there. You've got some gusty winds and a little rain going on. You're down there in that area where the tornado threat is a little bit higher. Don't see anything down there that looks threatening right now. But the heaviest rain and the highest wind, I think, is going to stay north of the Beauregard area. All right, so Lawrence is telling me that the numbers in Alabama are going up quick. And that's power outage numbers that he is reporting to us. Wind's bad in Graham. Pee Wee said, me and Auburn don't click. It didn't work out too well for Chris Nelson one time either. Next time you see him, ask him about the Auburn-Florida game and how ugly he was to me. How could anybody be ugly to the doctor? Nelson's a Florida fan. This has been a few years ago, and we slipped up and beat Auburn. We were all down there tailgating, and Nelson was ugly to me. Could you imagine Chris Nelson being ugly to anybody, especially me? He was just ugly. All I could do is laugh at him. All right, so power's going in and out in Woodland. Well, the winds are already blowing bad in multiple locations around the area, Shirley. It's just a matter of time before it starts at your location. Noonan George is in the house. Downtown Woodland still has power. Internet is misbehaving. Well, y'all hadn't had the internet in Woodland long. Yeah, it hadn't had cell phone service in Woodland long. I can remember back doing high school football from the stadium there in Woodland, and we couldn't even get a cell phone signal out of Woodland. All right, so Pee Wee is advising wind gust over 50 miles per hour in Roanoke right now. And I'm not going to dispute that. Oh, gosh, he has 3 hairs out of place, so there you go. Time to move in with a hairspray. Okay, so God's Country is sending me a message advising that things are pretty bad in Lineville, Ashland area. Power outages near Central High School in the Ashland, Lineville area. So again, welcome to those of you that are listening to us on God's Country, both over on the FM and on the God's Country Facebook side and on the Mixler broadcast side. Also, good morning to those of you that may be watching us over on the Friday Night Network. If you have a Roku television, you have a couple of cool options. You can search for the FNN app, download it on your Roku TV, and you can watch our live coverage on your big screen television. You can also go to YouTube and search for Dr. Don's weather page and watch us on YouTube on your big screen TV. And if you have internet capabilities on your big screen TV, you can just go to Facebook and find us there, or go to drdonwx.com. That's our website. Our live stream is there up on the home page of our website as well. It's amazing. You get a chance to watch us on something larger than a tablet or a phone. The resolution is just crazy. Heavy wind and rain in Wedowee. No, we have had some, we had Irma about 3 or 4 years ago that brought some, now it's probably been that long since we've had a hurricane make it up into central Alabama. Teddy is asking the question, wasn't it 1995 the last time we had one make it this far north? As far as a hurricane is concerned, yeah, probably was open. But tropical storm-wise, we've had a couple since then. Irma's one of them. Now, Irma stayed in Georgia, but it came right up the Alabama-Georgia state line. And it was a tropical storm all the way into North Georgia. Amanda says, bad winds in Lineville and Wedowee. Tree limb on the roadway on Highway 48, the Alabama-Georgia state line there at 48 and 100. Pee Wee's talking about wind gusting to 50 miles per hour or more in Roanoke. All right, Dwayne is reporting from Mellow Valley in Clay County. He's advising his weather station at 23 to 32 winds right now. And that was about 10 minutes ago when he posted that. Miss Lorraine Anglin's got us turned on this morning in Dickard, Alabama. Wind and rain is strong in 5 points. Power out in Wedowee near Foster's Crossroads. Miss Lorraine is saying no power out there at Dickard, out there on the end of Louanna Road. Lights flickering at Rock Stand. Power is out in Alexander City. Power is out in Woodland. The winds are bad in Graham. Coosa County power is reported out as well in Coosa County. Just lost power in Alexander City. Strong winds and rain at Folsom, Foster's Crossroads. Still has power so far. Power is flickering in Valley. Same thing going on up in Heflin as it is everywhere else. As a matter of fact, the heavy winds hadn't even got to you yet up there in Heflin. You're just now getting in on the action. You got a ways to go. Power is now out near Foster's Crossroads. Power out in Bluff Springs. Wind is awful on Highway 87 in Woodland. Power is going to stay off for good in a little bit. That's Chance over in Wadley. Power off at Gray Road. Lights are flickering in Wedowee. Shirley's asking the question, when will the wind stop blowing? I'm afraid we have another couple of hours to go before the wind calms down. Miss Deborah said she went out on the front porch and the wind's just a whipping in all kind of different directions. Miss Deborah, don't go outside in all of this. You're supposed to be one of my folks that pay attention to what I say. Go on back in the house and sit down. Stay off of that front porch. I mean, you way off up there at Butler's Mill. It'll take us a month to get to you if we need to. Wind is really heavy on Highway 15. Good morning, Dan Smith. Power went out in Newell, but it came back on. The wind knocked my grill off the porch. That's how strong it is in Woodland. Now, that's some serious stuff. We can't be messing with the grill. Take a deep breath, Tamika. It's going to be all right. I guarantee you, you're going to make it through this just fine. There's a report from Anniston. Winds are crazy up there. Strong winds in northern Troup County. Really hot. Not sure exactly what part of Georgia Brenda is in. Yeah, so we had a warm front come up this morning, kind of stalled out across the North Georgia mountains, and now we've got all this tropical air coming in. So that's why we're warming up. Wind is rough in Wedowee. Power is out in Malone. Power flickering on and off in Graham. Lawrence is reporting 4,541 power outages in Georgia already. And the heaviest winds hasn't even made it into Georgia yet. So over 200,000 outages in Alabama and climbing rapidly. And now we have 4,500 outages in Georgia. Street lights just went out in northern Troup County. 239,647 without power in Alabama. Is the dark red over Dadeville going to move toward or over Randolph County? Probably going to be Clay. There's that last loop just updated. We're having some radar issues. I noticed they were talking about it in the chat room, but I had not noticed any issues on my end. But if you'll notice, from right there, we lost a couple of frames. So we are experiencing some radar issues. But that area that was falling there on 280 has moved. It looks like it's now setting up between Roanoke and Malone. Man, this thing is screaming off to the north. Folks, I think your rain has already come to an end for the most part in Coosa County. Sylacauga, you're about to get out of it. Southwest Clay, you're getting out of the rain. Tallapoosa County, still raining from Alexander City back up to around Daviston, but it won't be long. Tallapoosa County will be out of it. Chambers probably doesn't have but another 30 minutes to go. I got some very heavy rain over LaGrange, but that's going to be out of there shortly. We do have that area of very heavy rain in southwest Randolph. I think that is going to be pretty much what's left of what was down there around Tallapoosa County, but we'll zoom in on it. That's going to be from Abanda back up to Wadley, Corinth, Malone, Friendship, Mount Olive, Dickert, all getting some very heavy rainfall right now. But it won't last long. That's the good part of all of this. The bad part is the wind is going to continue on for a little while longer. But you're just about out of the rain. I'm still monitoring Toomer's Corner, and the wind is still crazy down there, but the rain has pretty much come to a halt down there in the Auburn-Opelika area. And we got some heavy thunderstorms down here in Florida, too, along I-10 from Crestview back over to Mariana, and then back down to around Seagrove. So we cannot rule out the possibility of some tornadoes down here, especially over here around Panama City down to Port St. Joe. If we got folks down there this morning. But, it's just amazing how fast this is moving. The rain is going to be over with in East Alabama for the most part. At least south of I-20, the rain's going to be done here in the next 30 to 40 minutes. Now, the wind's not going to be done. It's going to be breezy for quite some time, but the rain is about done. Wind is bad in Newell, 5 points, very windy. Very strong rain near Foster's Crossroads in Wedowee. The fire radio is going off like crazy. Wind really bad on Highway 48 in Wedowee. Power is out in Weaver. Wind's getting up in Graham right now. Flickering lights in Piedmont. Moderate rain and light or little wind in the Fayetteville, Georgia, Peachtree City area. Wind and rain really bad in Wedowee. Well, there's Lisa Pratt Woodfin this morning. She says this heifer Zeta needs to move on. So I'm assuming by your comment, Miss Pratt, that it is still windy down there in the Pratt Vegas. The rain's moved on, but you still got some wind going on down there from what I'm looking at. Power flashing in Lynette. Windy at Lanes Chapel. Winds picking up in Woodland. Internet out in Woodland according to a third-party report. Lights flashing on Lake Wedowee. Strong winds up in Oxford. My house is shaking in Newell. Well, that's pretty significant. Becca. And we have power failure in Roanoke. Power is out now. Let's see here. Power is out now in Mellow Valley. Dwayne has lost his weather station. It had reached 51 miles per hour before it went down. Strong winds in Piney Woods. Uh-oh. So Lisa's done got a pecan tree down in her backyard. Yeah, you know, this kind of stuff's rough on pecan trees this time of year because they got pecans on them. That makes them heavier, and then you get this wind. Remember Hurricane Michael a couple of years ago down in southwest Georgia just totally devastated the pecan orchards down there. Lisa is in Prattville, Alabama. That is where I was originally born, and well, we'll just leave it at that. That's where I'm from. Prattville, Alabama, just north of Montgomery. We got a flash flood warning now for St. Clair and Talladega counties of east central Alabama. Flash flood warning for Calhoun, St. Clair, and Talladega until 5 a.m. I want to say good morning to all of you watching us over on FNN, and also for those of you that have been with us this morning over on God's Country 90.9 FM, both on the FM side, on the Mixler side, and on the Facebook side. And for those of you watching us on Dr. Don's weather page this morning. So we've got a little network going on. Pretty cool stuff. We got a power line down in the entrance of MAPCO. That's in Lineville. All right, let's go back down and look at the radar because this is just evolving so fast. I mean, it's just, every loop is just drastically different from the last. All right, so here's your heavy rain now in Randolph County from just north of Roanoke up there around Crystal Lake all the way up to Wedowee. Of course, it is raining in Roanoke, but the heaviest of the heavy rain from just north of Crystal Lake back over to Cornhouse, then up to Highway 115 just west of Wedowee, back over to about Ava, up to around Swag. 431 is just a complete washout right this moment. Heavy rain stretching back up to Hawk, back over to Woodland, Napoleon, Potash. And this is going to continue moving off to the northeast. So Woodland, you got another heavy rain, a round of rain coming your way. Graham's going to get in on the action. Bucktown is coming toward Ephesus. You get up there around Bowden. Ranburn's going to get in on this. Roopville. And probably will make it up into Carrollton as well. Heavy rain now over Anniston. Up there just northwest of Chulafini. Out there at the Anniston Army Depot out at Bynum. I-20 is just a complete washout now. Basically from Pell City, or let's say Leeds, all the way to Atlanta. I mean, look at this mess over here in Atlanta. I-20 is not a good ride at all this morning. Heavy storms up there around, or not storms, but heavy rain up there around Raglan. Moderate rain falling at Jacksonville. Muscadine's got some heavy rain. Piedmont. Those are Going up towards Center, you see some heavy rain between Gadsden and Center. Up there around Galesville, Collinsville, Sardis City. Look at this stuff up here at Arab. Wow. And the interesting thing is that's north of the center of circulation. Normally, this is not what happens north. It normally happens to the, in the northeast quadrant of the storm. That's where we normally see the heaviest weather. But this one's been a little different. We've seen some heavy rain to the north and northwest of the center of circulation, which now appears to be crossing 280 just east of Birmingham. I would put the center of circulation just northeast of Calera. And I still think it's going to cross I-20 just west of Anniston. All right, we have 3 trees down on a house on Cannon Street in Roanoke. Nobody was injured, and there is some structural damage. I know there is structural damage all over the place, but that's the first confirmed report I've seen of structural damage, and that's in the city of Roanoke on Cannon Street. So we're going to cross the interstate there, I-20, west of Anniston, really close to Center Point. Right there around, between Pell City and Oxford, maybe pretty close to the Anniston Army Depot. And then we're going to continue on off to the north, should move right over JSU, Jacksonville, Piedmont, and then cross into Georgia, just west of Cedartown, and continue on off to the north, crossing over 75 there just south of Adairsville. Coming across 575 there just north of Jasper. Maybe crossing up into North Georgia just south of Ellijay. Then moving up there through Union County just south of Blairsville. Over into Towns County there around Young Harris. And then on up into North Carolina, moving pretty close to Franklin, between Franklin and Highlands, North Carolina, just north of Sky Valley or Dillard. I've referenced that several times today. If you've gone to Gatlinburg or Cherokee, you come up 441 and come up through Clayton and Mountain City, Sky Valley. And there's a little eating joint right there on the North Carolina-Georgia state line called the Dillard House. It's one of those places where you go in and you sit down and they bring it to you family style. I mean, they bring it to you in buckets and they just lay it out there on the table. And you belly up and you just wear it out. And they just keep bringing it to you. That is my kind of eating right there. I got to quit talking about it. I'm going to have to make a trip up there. It's not but about 45 minutes from my house, so. Yeah, Pee Wee says trees are down in Roanoke and so is his hair. Yeah, Rachel's talking about emergency vehicles headed toward Cannon Street. That's where the tree went down on the house, or the 3 trees went down on the house. But we already know there are no injuries, so all's good there. All right, so we've got Georgia's numbers are going up pretty quick now. We've got 10,000 folks without power in Georgia. Alabama, About 250,000 outages in Alabama now. Thank you, Lawrence. I really do appreciate you posting those numbers. That is very helpful. I'm going to have to buy you a burger. Power's out in Bowden. All right, we are now at 2:22 a.m. Central, 3:22 a.m. Eastern. It is Thursday morning, October 29, 2020. You're watching live coverage of the remains of Hurricane Zeta on Dr. Don's weather page. The storm is now about to cross I-20, the center of circulation. Is about to cross I-20 between Pell City and Oxford. And the heavy rains are going to be moving out of East Alabama relatively quick now. The storm's forward motion about 35 miles per hour. So the rain's not going to hang around long, but the wind will be around for a little bit longer. It's going to remain windy behind the rain for a little bit. So we're not done with the wind just yet. I'm going to leave the feed up, and I'm going to leave the radar up, and I'm going to step aside just a moment to replenish my coffee cup and to kind of check on things here around the mountain, because the wind will start picking up here pretty quick. So don't go anywhere. Just stay right where you're at. We've got like over 500 folks watching us this morning, which is pretty amazing. We thank you for that. Let me show you one thing right quick before I take a quick break. And folks, this is very important. We ask that you go over to paypal.me/Dr. Don WX and support us in any way you possibly can. There's no number too small or no number too high. If you can help us in any way, we ask that you do so at paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. This does cost money to do, and so we ask, this is free. We don't do a subscription-based app, which there are several people out there who do the same thing I'm doing, and that's the route they've taken. And I have done everything I possibly could do to stay away from that, and I will not go that route unless I absolutely have no other option. And as long as you guys will support what we're doing, and as long as we've got some businesses that will partner with us, we won't have to go that route. So please help us out. Go to paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. It is secure. It is safe. It's PayPal. But you don't have to have a PayPal account. Doesn't take just a few seconds to help us out. We ask that you please do that. And I'm going to, if you don't have time to write it down, I'll post it over in the comments. And then I'm going to take a break and get the coffee cup filled back up, and I'll be back with you. We're going to continue to ride this thing until the weather calms down in East Alabama and West Georgia. So stay with us on Dr. Don's weather page. East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don back in here with you. Break time is over. Have a fresh cup of coffee. And so we're back at it again. Michelle Grizzard asking a question. Has the worst of it passed over Wedowee? No. Not just yet. The wind is still going to continue for a little while. Let's see. There was somebody else. Power's out in Woodland. Good morning, Lynn Gooden. Nice to see you in there. Power's out in Woodland off of County Road 59. I understand Randolph County 911 has lost power also. Now, I'm sure they're on emergency backup power, but power is out in the Wedowee area. Power out on Bud Cummins Road. That's in Roanoke. Power is out in New Site. That's over in Tallapoosa County. Here's another report update from Lawrence on power outages. Georgia power outages, we're at 21,000. Alabama outages, 251,000. Michelle Grizzard, yes, we see your text. You're working. And to answer your question, Michelle, no, the worst of this is, I mean, what you see right now is probably as bad as it's going to get, but it's going to last a little bit longer. It's not over. Let's go back over here to the radar. Got something right there I don't like the looks of. All right, Wadley. This doesn't look good right here. That's the heaviest rain I've seen so far throughout this entire event across East Alabama. And that's right there just below Wadley. Between Daviston and Wadley there on Highway 22. A couple things I want to look at right here. Where we go? Okay, let's go back. Let's go take Birmingham. Take a second for that to load. Not load. We are having communications problems back to Birmingham with the radar products. Let's see, I need the base velocity. Sight is down. Okay, well, I can't get to it. So let me go back to, here we go. I wanted to look and see what kind of wind we got right here, because this doesn't, this is a little suspicious looking right here. We have an inflow notch to the south, and then we have tremendous rainfall occurring just south of Wadley. And that's going to continue moving off to the northeast. So you folks up there, Broughton Ridge, Corinth, Mr. Jimmy up there at Malone, got to keep an eye on this right here. Now, I don't see any evidence of a tornado, but if we were going to have a quick spin up, this is the kind of thing we'd be looking for right here. So if you're down there in southwest Randolph County, heads up. That it's small, but that's a very intense looking cell right there moving through Wadley. Wind is horrendous at Roxton. Power out in Ranburn. You're welcome, Michelle. Power's out in Swag. Power's out in Piney Woods. At this point, I wouldn't leave my mobile home, Michelle. I mean, a couple of hours ago, you probably it would have been the absolute safest thing to do, but now I would stay put. Power's out in Heflin. Be careful, Colleen, about bragging. Because I promise you, the wind is coming your way. Power has come back on in Heflin, at least in one particular area anyway. But right now I'm concerned. I'm concerned about this stuff down here in southwest Randolph County. That is a significant looking storm cell. Let's loop it through again. We are having some communications problems with the Birmingham radar site and the let me see if I can get Atlanta to load, because that's far enough over in East Alabama. We can see if we can get Atlanta to load up. Come on. Here we go. All right, see what I'm talking about? We do have some rotation in this storm, but it's very broad. I don't see anything that's indicative of a tornado. The rotation is very broad, and right now would be centered very close to Dickard. And that's where that storm marker is showing up right there. And it's moving to the northeast at 64 miles per hour. Wow. Now, while we're over here on the velocity product, let's see if we see anything. I don't see anything else of any suspicion. But this thing down here in southwest Randolph, there could be a little bit right there just north of Wadley, between Wadley and Corinth, but that's broad rotation also. And over here at Dickard, that's pretty broad. You know, if we had all red and then just a couple of green pixels touching the red, I'd be much more concerned. But this is very broad, and there's no question all of these storms are rotating. Because they're rotating around the axis of what's left of this hurricane. All right. I feel better about that now. I was a little bit concerned there for a moment. Let's go back to the reflectivity. And since Atlanta is loading, we're going to leave the Atlanta loop on. And I just got to tell you, I don't like that structure down there at all. I'm still, even though I've looked at the velocity product, I don't like the looks of that right there. Now, that's going to be north of Roanoke. Well, Roxton, you're getting hammered right now. And this is all moving off to the northeast. This little area here, let me turn the telestrator on. Right in here. And that's going to move off in this direction. And it is absolutely flying. So, I mean, we're up here around Roxton now. And the next update, it'll be over here in East Randolph. And then it'll be out of Alabama into Georgia. But this little hook right in here, and even back down here on the south end of it, back down toward Wadley, those two areas, the structure is conducive. Though when we switch to the velocity product, we're not seeing anything. We're not seeing anything that is indicative of any type of rotation near the surface. We certainly have rotation in the upper levels of the atmosphere. All these storms are rotating, but I don't see anything at the ground right there that raises an eyebrow. Let me zoom back out so you can get a big picture. Coosa County, the rain's done. For the most part, Clay County, the rain is done. Talladega County, the rain is done. Tallapoosa County, you're rain free. Chambers County, from 431 west, you're finished. From 431 east, you still have some rain showers. Up here north of I-20, we still got some pretty good rain going from Gadsden down to Anniston. Though Anniston, you're going to be cleared from the rain here in just a few moments. On up into northern Cleburne County, still got some heavy showers going on there. Cherokee County still raining pretty good back over toward Albertville, and then up to around Rainsville, on up to Fort Payne, Mentone, Valley Head, and then over into northwest Georgia. Heavy rain continuing from Dalton down to Calhoun, Rome, Villa Rica, back over to Atlanta Metro. Over there on the east side of the perimeter, very heavy rainfall out there now where I-20 intersects with 285. Heavy rain now in Alpharetta, Gainesville, Dahlonega, Dr. Don's crib is on the side of Waka Mountain, or as my grandson calls it, Monkey Mountain. That's where I stay, right there. So we're just now getting into it up here, as far as the rain is concerned. And I just stepped outside briefly and went to fix my coffee, and the rain rate is slowly picking up. It's breezy, but the wind's not that bad here right now. And it is 4 a.m. Eastern, so we're pretty much right on time up here in northeast Georgia. Timetable, 3 o'clock Central. The rain is clearing East Alabama, so I think that part of the storm is a little ahead of schedule. I really kind of expected the rain to continue until around sunrise in East Alabama. So, but this thing is just trucking off to the northeast now at about 35 miles per hour. The entire system, the individual storms are moving at about 60 miles per hour, while the system itself is moving at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So we thought it would probably be, wow, I got to go back to the Auburn camera. You got to see this. Yeah. Look at the wind in Auburn. And that's still coming at you, Chambers. Tallapoosa, Troup County, Heard County. That wind that you're seeing there in Auburn is still, of course, we've got this line moving through Auburn right here. And that is probably bringing some of that wind to the surface. That's this line right here. I know that's hard to see on the radar. Let me see if I can make that a little better for you. All right, so this is Auburn. And this line is moving through Auburn right now. We had a wind gust just before I switched. We had a wind gust that completely blacked out the camera. And that's going to be some of that yellow and tan rain, as Pee Wee would call it, coming through Auburn right now. No red rain. Back up here in Randolph County, we're still watching the tail end of this line. And to be quite honest with you, that thing makes me nervous. But the structure doesn't look quite as suspicious as it did just a few minutes ago, though. Right here below Potash, just to the right of Rock Stand. Let me take the radar back full screen. This area right in here. See, we're beginning to get more of a pronounced bend in that line right there. Switch back to the velocity again right quick. Right in this area here. I still don't see anything that indicates we have anything developing right there, but that's headed right for Franklin, too. So you folks over here in Heard County, heads up. You got some crazy rain coming your way. And I'm sure there's some very heavy wind. This is what you look for when you would expect some of those 60-mile-per-hour gusts. Certainly could be involved in this stuff coming through eastern Randolph County and also up here already in Heard County. Back to the northwest of Franklin, up there around Ridgeway. You could definitely have some 60-mile-an-hour wind gust here. There could be some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts taking place from Big Springs back to Tin Shop to High Shoals, back in Randolph County, even back down to around Rock Stand. But the good news for Randolph County is this. Once this area clears Randolph County, which will happen in the next 20 minutes or so as it moves on off to the northeast, once that area clears Randolph County, the heavy rain will be done, and it will still be breezy for another couple of hours. But the strongest winds and the rain will be in the process of diminishing across Randolph County in the next 20 minutes or so. This area over here in Heard County, that's pretty significant right there. So between Franklin and Central Hatchie, strong winds and very heavy rainfall. So another power outage reported in Roanoke. This is going to be out there on County Road 79. Pretty windy in Abanda. Abanda, you've got a little bit of rain to go, but most of the rain is out of chambers now. Miranda is telling us that it's pretty windy in Potash. Yes, it is. That's that area that I'm talking about. And Miss Deborah's talking about she lost her screen door. Pretty rough up there north of Woodland. Cassie's asking the question about, is it looking like a tornado in Big Springs? No, I don't see any evidence of a tornado. I just don't like the structure look to this entire cell. The cell is structured in such a way, it's presenting itself a structure that could be conducive of rotation. But when we look at the product that shows us rotation, there's none there. I mean, there is some there, but it's very broad. So that's not an indication of a tornado. So to answer your question in kind of a roundabout way, no, I do not see any indication of a tornado. I just don't like the way that whole storm looks. I think it's probably given you some tremendous winds, though. There are pockets here right along the extreme, well, right up 87 on the eastern side of Randolph going up into Heard County. There are several pockets there that could be producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. And there's definitely rotation taking place in some of these, some of that area that we're talking about. But it's very broad, it's very wide, which all thunderstorms rotate, or they wouldn't be a thunderstorm. So that's what it's showing us. And we're calling it a thunderstorm, and there's no thunder. We have 0 strikes showing up. As a matter of fact, when I zoom out and go back to the reflectivity, I mean, I don't see any lightning anywhere. Now, there is a chance we're not getting the data because we are having communication issues with the National Weather Service. I say we. All weather providers are having communications issues. It's a server issue that's data. So we may not be receiving lightning data. But I have seen 0 reports of thunder or lightning in the chat room that I'm watching for the National Weather Service, nor have any of you reported seeing any lightning or hearing any thunder. So I don't think we have any lightning out there with these storms. I'm a little surprised about that too, because the rain rates are such. I would have expected to see some thunder and lightning with this. But that heaviest part of that cell is now moving out of Randolph. Right now, let's see, there's County Road 628, County Road 632, over here in Heard County, Arrington Road, County Road 518 in Randolph. I'm picking out some locations where we've got very heavy rainfall and probably are experiencing 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust. County Road 632 in Randolph County. That's up there just north of Weehadkee. County Road 652. This entire area right here. County Road 517. We could definitely be seeing some of that 60 mile per hour wind gust right there. And that's where the heaviest weather is in Randolph County right now. I'm talking about rain and wind. It's still raining back over Wedowee. We still got rain in several locations. Okay, come on, radar. Work with me here. Thank you. I'll zoom out. But you can see the rain is quickly coming to an end. But the wind is going to continue a while. Real heavy wind being reported in Heflin. That's up there in Cleburne County. Latest reports on outages. Alabama Power is now up to 422,000. So Alabama's outages have almost doubled in the last 30 or 40 minutes. $422,000 customers without power in Alabama. Real windy up on Gray Hill in Randolph County. Strong winds in Coweta County, Noonan area. Widespread power outages since 3 a.m. Watching the sky light up with flashes. Transformers blowing. Yep. We actually saw some of that down in Auburn earlier, too. Power is now out in Carrollton. You folks who are asking questions because you're fixing to have to go to work, I highly suggest you call ahead and make sure there's power where you work. It would be horrible for you to get out and drive in this and then get there only to find out there's no power and you have to try and come back home. So I would call ahead, communicate with some other co-workers maybe, find out if they've heard anything about their businesses, because even though I have not seen a tremendous number of reported downed trees, we do have widespread power outage across East Alabama and West Georgia. So that's going to prevent businesses from opening. So I would do everything I could to get in touch with a supervisor or co-workers and try to find out if there is power at your place of business. And obviously, if there's not, and if your business cannot operate without power, there's not a whole lot of justification there for getting out in this weather and driving to it, because the wind's going to continue. The wind's not going to just stop here in a few minutes. What are we looking at here? 308 Central. You know, we're probably looking at least another hour, maybe two, of gusty winds across East Alabama and West Georgia. Pee Wee's reporting that the not much rain left in Roanoke, but the wind is still rough. That certainly corresponds with what we're looking at on radar, Pee Wee. You see that up 87 up there above Weehawken, we've still got some red rain going on. And then we get over there in northern Heard County, we've got a lot of red rain going on. All right, so the National Weather Service has just canceled the tornado watch for Bullock, Lee, Macon, and Pike. So good news, Lee County. You're now out of the threat of severe weather from tornadoes. It's still windy in Auburn. We're watching the Toomer's Corner camera, and it's still just all over the place down there. So the wind's still pretty rough in Auburn. But the threat of tornadoes has greatly subsided in Lee County. The tornado watch is continued for Barber and Russell until 5 a.m. this morning. Alexander City is reporting a wind gust of 54 knots. That would be about 60 miles per hour. And let's see what time that was. I'm not sure what time that was. I don't think that's current, though. I think that was when that heavy red rain moved through Alexander City. But we did have a gust of 60 miles per hour, which was exactly what we had forecast. So, Floyd County over in Georgia is reporting trees are falling. All right, so I'm just reading some comments. In the National Weather Service chat room, trying to get a fix on how much longer we can expect these winds. And so there is a meteorologist over there in Clanton, Chilton County, that just posted on the National Weather Service website and stated that just in the last 15 minutes, the winds have begun to calm down back over in Chilton County. So that is over here. Let's go back to the telestrator. So Chilton County is over here. And so you can see the relation between Chilton County and East Alabama. It's about an hour and a half drive west of our easternmost counties along the Georgia state line. So things are beginning to calm down over there a bit. So that's good news. That's the first report I've seen of things calming down back to the southwest, which is where we want to look, because that's going to give us an idea of how much longer we're going to have to deal with it across the eastern part of the state. So given that information, I would think maybe it's 3:12 now, maybe by 4:15, 4:30, the wind may start to back off a little bit, but I think we've got at least another hour, maybe hour and a half of gusty winds, and then it's going to be breezy probably at least through noon today. But these occasional gusts up to 40 and 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour should diminish here in the next hour or so. So we do have a little light at the end of the tunnel. Kenneth is reporting lights are out in Roanoke. High winds, heavy rain, and no power in Roosterville, Heard County. Strong winds in Heard County. That's that stuff coming out of Randolph that I've been telling you guys. I didn't like the way it looked. So we're getting ground truth reports now from this entire area that's moving out of Randolph into Heard. Just north of Franklin, up there around Rock Ridge, Hyatt, Riverside, Central Hatchie. And you get on up here in northeastern Heard up there around Yellow Dirt. Five Notch Road. I'm just going to point out some areas where the weather is the worst right now. These are all over here in Heard County. There you go. That's Heard County, Georgia. That's where some of the worst weather is occurring right now. This is that area that moved through Randolph that I kept looking at the velocity product because I was telling you I didn't like the way this thing looked. And now we're getting ground truth reports that we've got probably 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts within this cluster of storms. High winds still occurring in Roxton. That's back in Randolph. Power's out in Pennon. Napoleon just got pounded. Trees are down on County Road 33. Trees down on 22 headed to Franklin. So not sure if that's on the Alabama side or in Georgia. I don't know if it's saying 22, so we're going to go with that's in Alabama. Because if it's in Georgia, it'd be 34. Power's flickering in Rock Mills. Deborah, probably what you're seeing are transformers popping. We're not showing any lightning in Roanoke. Matter of fact, all the rain, I mean, it may still be drizzling or very light rain, but the heavy rain has now moved out of the Roanoke area. And I'm going to go out on a limb, no pun intended, and say that what you're seeing are transformers flashing. Power's out in Wildwood near Foster's Crossroads. High wind, power surges. Lynn is reporting the power's flickering on and off in Rock Mills. Jennifer's asking a question. Anyone figure out what happened to the water? Was it tree roots that got a main? So if there was a comment earlier that talked about a water main break, I missed it. So if that's what's going on, how about reposting and telling me where that is at? Power's out in Frog Eye. Thank you, Brandon Brown. Brandon is another one of our business partners. BR Construction, licensed home builder. Check him out. We appreciate you, Brandon. We really do. Thank you, bud. We hope you hang with us a long time. Rough is an understatement in the terms of wind at Rock Stand. You know, Rock Stand's got a little higher elevation. You're up there on the hill, so you're probably getting up into some higher wind gust up there on the stand. Let's see here. Bad wind and heavy rain here in northern Heard County, Rooteville area. Still hanging on to power right now. Strong winds in LaGrange. Power's out of the Newell area. Strong winds in Roanoke. 6 or 7 trucks out in front of my house with blue flashing lights. And a large 911 vehicle parked out front. Just lost power in Roanoke. Mill Village still has power in Roanoke. Derek's asking the question, is Franklin going to get bad? It's really bad just north of Franklin. I mean, like within walking distance of downtown Franklin. It's bad. That is moving to the northeast. All right, County Road 71 on the 64 end in Woodland is completely blocked. Large pecan tree completely across the road. Power is out in portions of the Mill Village. Piedmont Hill and still have power. There is a tree down at the 4-way at Watson's Corner. That's over in the Mill Village. West Avenue, the power's out in the Mill Village. Cindy says it's pretty rough in Roanoke right now, wind-wise. Power on and off around Tin Shop. Power's out in Wadley. Power is flickering at the Hanley Middle School. No power on County Road 71 in Woodland. All right, apparently we have a tree on a house here. Nancy is commenting, everyone is fine. It hit the roof in my room and window is broken out and pouring rain in. Nana called 911 and they're getting someone out here now. Nancy, where did that take place? I'm sure you've already posted it, but I missed it. So if you don't mind telling me where that took place. Power's out in Frog Eye. Yes, it's transformers flashing. Thank you for that confirmation, Pee Wee. I appreciate it. See, the heaviest wind seems to be right behind the end of the rain band. Because all those flashes in Roanoke now are taking place in the rains out of Roanoke. And so that correlates with what we were seeing back to the southwest earlier this evening. So the wind is even more substantial after the rain stops. Low water pressure in Roanoke, in the Mill Village area. No power on County Road 31 in Ashland. You got another couple hours to go with this wind. Lights off in Roanoke and no water. Okay, so the power plant has probably lost power. They do have generators, but I'm seeing bits and pieces that leads me to believe there may be a water main break too. That's unconfirmed. But there may be several issues going on with the water in Roanoke. Yeah, I see Pee Wee's reporting we've got places in Roanoke reporting no water. I'm beginning to see that also. All right, so folks are reporting that their water looks dirty in the city of Roanoke. Well, that's an indication you got a water main break. Power is out in Lincoln, Alabama. That's up there on I-20. Power is out in the area of Rockford and Hanover over in Coosa County. Another friend who lives in a mobile home west of Goodwater, Alabama, has a large tree down on their home with bad damage. Wind blowing strong in Fayette County, Georgia. The wind is warm, and that bothers me. Yeah, I wouldn't read a whole lot into that. This is tropical air coming up off the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, now, I will say this, Fayette, Georgia, is far enough south. You're down there in that area where tornadoes are possible. Not likely. This has not been a tornado event. For the most part, we had a handful of warnings last evening down there along the Gulf Coast, and then we lost the heating of the day, and so the tornado threat really waned. But now, as we get the sun coming up this morning, we could see that threat reappear. I would think, though, that it would be east of I-75, I-16, maybe even a little further east than that. Because it's going to take a couple of hours of heating before it starts firing back up. So it may actually be South Carolina that gets in on the tornado action today. But the warm air, yeah, it's a tropical system. All that stuff's coming up off the Gulf of Mexico. So what you would expect down there in Panama City has just been pushed all the way up into North Georgia. All right, so Brian's asking a question about integrity cabinets in Lineville, if they're working, and I have not. If there is no power, though, one would assume that they can't run, but I have not heard a word. High winds in Lafayette. We have no water, but we are on electric well. Well, that's why you don't have any water. I don't know if your power's out or not. If power's out, then there's your problem. Yvette's asking how high are the winds in Roanoke? Well, a Roanoke police officer is estimating at least 50-mile-per-hour gusts, maybe a little bit higher. And I would have to concur with his assessment based on what I'm looking at on radar. I would say that there are pockets of 60-mile-per-hour winds that moved through Randolph County. Now, here's the problem that we have because we've lost the precipitation for the most part in Randolph County. It's hard to look at the radar and tell what kind of winds we've got. When we had red rain and yellow and orange rain over Randolph County, it was pretty easy to judge the wind speeds, but now that we've lost that, it's going to be kind of hard to judge the wind speed. Let me look at something here. All right, I've completely lost that weather station. try to look at some weather stations around the area and see if we've lost that completely. I think we've lost the server. Let me try a couple of different ones here and see what happens. Okay, that one is up. Well, for instance, now these are mostly ham operator weather stations. So right now we have sustained 15 miles per hour with gusts to 25 miles per hour at Rock Stand. Let's see. And I also understand, I don't know how high off the ground these weather stations are. But this particular station at Rock Stand is showing a peak wind gust of 30 miles per hour. And what time was that? That was at a peak wind gust of 30 miles per hour, 238. That was about an hour ago. Now, I don't really think that's going to be the peak gust at Rock Stand based on what you guys are reporting in the chat room. It sounds like to me the wind got a little higher than 30 miles per hour. But now, look, 30 miles per hour is pretty significant. That will bring down trees. But just judging by some of the comments you guys have made, I'm going to say the wind was probably a little bit higher than 30 miles per hour. All right, so let me just look around here. We have 28 mile per hour wind gust at Rock Stand, just recorded right now, live and in living color, 28 mile per hour out of the southwest. And, that's going to change shortly. We're going to start seeing that wind switch around as the storm moves off to the northeast. Just look around here at a couple of other look over there in Heard County because it just came through there. Let's see if anybody's up over there. That doesn't look good. Let's run down to Corinth in Randolph County. Not getting anything from that station. Of course, now the power's out in a lot of these locations too. That would explain why I'm not getting anything. Here's a station up on Lake Wedowee. That station in Lake Wedowee is showing a peak wind gust of 37.1 miles per hour. That was at 2:39 a.m. this morning. That was about an hour ago as well. 37.1 mile per hour wind gust. Look at Ashland. Again now, folks, these are not professional or official. I should say they are not official weather gauges. They are professional, but they're not official. So a gauge in Ashland is showing me a wind gust of 21 miles per hour at 235. It seems like all of the peak winds were right around 230 across Clay and Randolph. That is consistent, well, with just about every station I look at. Let's check Central Hatchie, because they've got it going on there now. Yeah, they're showing a maximum wind gust of 26.2 miles per hour. That's Central Hatchie. I'm not sure I believe that, based on what I'm seeing and what you guys are saying. All right, let's look at one more here. I wish I had a station down there in Jackson Gap or Dadeville. Yeah. No power. Power's out in Ashland. No power at Trailers Nursing Home. That's in Roanoke. Winds in Roanoke are still horrible. No power in Cragford. $100,000 power outages now reported in Georgia. Still having extremely high wind gust on 48 in Wedowee, Dyersville, Georgia. Power is out. Very high winds. Power flickering in Heflin. The rain has stopped in Abanda, but the wind is still pretty significant. No power on 113 Randolph County between Lineville and Wedowee. No power in Swag. Power still hanging on County Road 865 in Broughton Ridge. Y'all must be paying the preacher or something. Power's flickering right next to Southern Union and Wadley. Rain has subsided there. No power in Hollis. Power's out in parts of Roanoke. It's not citywide, best I can tell. Bartow County is now without power. Still have heavy howling wind. Where was that? Oh, doggone it, I lost it. Okay, in Wedowee, County Road 879. Power out in Bartow County. Power's flickering on and off in Roxton. High winds and Bacon Level. Lost power a few minutes, but it has come back. Power out in Roanoke. Tree down across the driveway. Power's out in Talladega. That's 1 mile from the Clay County line. Lights are flickering. Hanley Middle School. Megan, I haven't heard anything out of the Corinth community. You know, I have some interest there. I have two grandbabies, a son and a daughter-in-law right there in Corinth. And hadn't heard anything from them. so I'll have to assume everything is okay. Power out in Wedowee since about 2:30 this morning. No power, Old Mill Loop in Ashland. Cindy Smith says this wind is scary. Gust of wind in Coldwater in Lincoln, Alabama. Wind is horrible in High Shoals. Wind is picking up in Adairsville. That's in Georgia. All right, Brand Futrell is reporting that he just received a call from Wellborn Cabinet. Delay start 2 hours. That's Wellborn Cabinet. Power's out on Louisiana Road. Deborah is reporting lightning and bad wind on 431 at Walker's gas station. But, Deborah, that's not lightning that you're seeing. Those are power flashes. Those are transformers blowing and power lines arcing that's causing a flash in the sky that certainly does look like lightning. It does. But it's not lightning. We had zero lightning out of this storm, which is pretty amazing. Not exactly what I expected, but that happens sometimes with tropical storms, and this was one of those cases. We had no lightning. So those are power flashes that you are seeing. Every time you see that flash, that means somebody just lost power. Power just went out on Martha Street in Roanoke. That's over in the Mill Village. Power out in Douglasville, Georgia. That's out there on I-20. That stands to reason. That's the stuff coming right out of East Alabama. County Road 71 in Woodland, Alabama is blocked by trees. Close to the 64 end. Got some of Roanoke without power, without water also. Water main break from a tree uprooted, I believe. Okay, thank you, Lon. Lon Hurst is posting that. Apparently, we've had a tree go down that took out a water main line. So that explains your loss of water and water pressure in the city of Roanoke. Somebody's reporting here that Deborah says that the wind blew her window unit inside her house. Wow. Power's now out on Country Club Road in Roanoke. Rough and Rock Stand. The wind is very strong in Sandy Springs, Georgia. We have trees down here at Rock Stand. Power's out on Quail Run. That's out there off of 22, just below the old hospital there in Roanoke. Still rain, heavy wind near Ephesus, the state line. Rain has ceased up in Lincoln. Very strong wind. Sandy Springs, replying to Ralph Brooks. Okay, I believe 40 miles an hour. We still have serious wind blowing in Woodland. Wind has calmed down in Woodland. So I have two back-to-back posts. One says the wind is still blowing, and one says the wind has calmed down. Now, I know one of you may be in North Woodland and one of you may be in South Woodland, but which way we're going to go with this here? I mean, they were literally posted within 12 seconds of one another. You know, it's gusty, so you may have high wind on one side of Woodland when it's calm on the other and vice versa. So I'm just picking at y'all. I'm picking on Woodland. You know, my two favorite places in the world is Woodland, Alabama and Rock Mills. I'm going to pick on one of them. Well, wait a minute. I have three. You can't leave out Frog Eye and Miss Mary. I'll pick on her a little bit, too. I'll still have high winds in Newell. That's not far from Woodland, so there's still some high winds around. Deborah's still asking the question, how much longer is this going to last? Deborah, we got another hour or so of the high winds. I'm just watching the Auburn camera down there at Toomer's Corner. And while there is still an occasional high wind gust, now that line has moved through down there, it looks like the winds are calming down there in Auburn. But the further north you go, they're going to last a little bit longer. So, probably another hour, things will start tapering off across East Alabama. Hopefully sooner, but I'd plan on about an hour. Same for Anniston. Power's out in Standing Rock down in Chambers County. No power in the Mill Village. There is power in High Shoals. Wind is very high in Buchanan. Power's out in Lincoln. No power in Midway. Power's still on Piedmont Street in the Mill Village. Power's out on County Road 865. Still got power on West Point Street in Roanoke. Out of power just above Gedney's on 431 there in Roanoke. No power in Lineville 48 and McCrary Mountain Road. Strong winds continue in Roanoke. Transformer or something just blew up across from somewhere. I'm not sure where Y1 is. Wind is absolutely horrible. Sounds like it's ripping off your roof, and took the canopy in the process. Ready for this to be over. That's Cassandra Brazil posting that. All right, so Officer Terry will be proper and politically correct here with this advisory because this is good information. Officer Terry is reporting that transformers are blowing all over the city of Roanoke. 75% of the city is now in the dark. So 75% of the city of Roanoke is now without power. And so here we are, folks. We are doing the widespread power outage thing that I told you was going to happen. It is verifying. Power still on and off in Rock Mills. Winds rough in Bowden. Winds really picking up in Carrollton. Wind still extremely bad in Roanoke. Seems to be getting stronger. We still have power on some of 61 so far, just bad winds. Watching from Graham, wind is crazy. Power out on 77 just north of Wadley. This is Caitlin Staples. She's up at Twin Lakes, which kind of sits up on the hill, and she's looking out over the city of Roanoke. And transformers are blowing and lighting up the sky. Wind is bad in Rock Mills. The wind at Tin Shop is as strong as it's been in a long while. Very strong winds. Well, the tropical storm, the center of circulation, is now crossing into the state of Georgia and leaving Alabama. So the center of circulation is moving off to the northeast at around 30 to 35 miles per hour. But the wind behind this storm, it's not 100% the tropical storm. We've also got a center of low pressure coming in from the west that's pushing the storm. And the gradient between the two systems is kind of what's given us a squeeze play on the wind. It's a very complex setup that we've got going on this morning. So while I think we've probably got another hour to go of the high winds, that could change. It just depends on several different factors. I'm watching the camera down there in Auburn. It's almost completely still down there. And this system is moving off to the northeast. Auburn is to the south of the system. So if that's any indication, then things should start improving. I would like to know what's going on in Chambers County. If somebody's in central or southern Chambers County, central or southern Tallapoosa County. You Tallapoosa County folks, Coosa County, and Chambers County folks, tell us what's going on. That's going to be an indication of when the wind's going to die down up there in Randolph and Clay and Cleburne, and even over into Georgia, over into Heard and Carroll. So we really need to hear from our Coosa, Tallapoosa, Chambers, and Lee County folks, or even folks down there in southern Troup or in Harris County. Tree across County Road 87 before the creek going toward the four-way stop. All right, Marilyn Mayfield is saying it's not calming down here any, Don. Just had a wind gust and I thought was going to blow away. That's in Napoleon. Wind gust still extremely bad up in Roosterville. You still got a pretty good thunderstorm over there in West Georgia. Bad at Bowden. Wind has calmed down here, but it's still blowing here in Woodland, but nothing like it was earlier. All right, Tawana, that's good information. Thank you. Yes, Graham would be a suburb of Woodland. That is correct. You out there in the burbs. All right, our Jackson County firefighter, this is Jackson County, Georgia, firefighter Lawrence Dees, who has been keeping us updated on power outages across Alabama and Georgia, is now reporting that the power is flickering in Jefferson, Georgia. That's in Jackson County. That's down there below Gainesville, Georgia. If you know where Gainesville at, Gainesville actually is in Hall County. Well, the next county south is actually Gwinnett, but maybe a little bit south and east would be Jackson County. That's where he is. Not too terribly far from where I am. So the winds are beginning to get on over into northeast Georgia now. Wind's still pretty bad on County Road 64 in Woodland. Okay, so very high winds continue in Lafayette. No power in Bowden. Still no power, and wind is very strong here in New Site. Power's flickering at 431 and 22 in Roanoke. Power's out in the Milltown area. It's parts of the Milltown. I think there are some parts that still have power. Kim saying lightning and high winds in Pine Hill. Folks, this is not lightning that you're seeing. These are power flashes. There is no lightning with this storm at all anywhere. What you're seeing light up the sky is called a power flash. Those are transformers blowing because of the wind. Kim is reporting Chambers is still having gusty winds with power outages. She's between Bacon Level and Standing Rock. So she's right down there on the Randolph County, Chambers County line. All right, so we got a report of a tree on a house in Wadley. I hope everybody is okay. How is 431 from Roanoke to Opelika? I'm not sure. But I'll tell you this much from all the power outage reports that I'm seeing, unless I absolutely had no choice, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. I mean, if you have something that just can't be put off, such as a doctor's appointment or some type of medical attention that you need, you know, I would call ahead though. But I wouldn't get out there on the road unless I had to this morning, because we just, the sun hasn't come up yet. We still don't know exactly what we're dealing with as far as damage is concerned. And this is the truth, folks. In rural Alabama and in rural Georgia, in rural anywhere USA, it takes time for damage reports to come in. It takes time to get a big picture of just how bad it is, because we don't have metropolitan populations. So we don't have hundreds of thousands of people who live in these areas that can all call in and report what happened on their street. You know, you let a F5 go through downtown Atlanta and you're getting the data almost as it's happening because there's so many people there. But you let an F5 come through a rural county in Alabama or Georgia, it may take several hours to find out exactly